Welcome back to the Girl Doc Survival Guide. Today, I'm very happy to be with Dr. Adam Rubin. Dr. Adam Rubin, MD, is the director of the section of Dermatopathology in the Ronald O. Perelman Department of Dermatology at the New York University Grossman School of Medicine and NYU Langone Health in New York City. He also directs the nail clinic and sees patients of all ages at the New York University Grossman School of Medicine. Dr. Rubin specializes in nail disorders, nail surgery, and histopathology of the nail unit. He is currently the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Cutaneous Pathology. He is also lead editor for the 4th edition of Scher and Daniel's Nails, Diagnosis, Therapy, Surgery. He is an author of the 3rd and 4th editions of the Atlas and Synopsis of Lever's Histopathology of the Skin, and an associate editor of the 11th and 12th editions of Lever's Histopathology of the Skin. Dr. Rubin is a current member-at-large of the Board of Directors of the American Society of Dermatopathology and was previously a member of the Executive Committee of the International Society for Dermatopathology. He is a board member of the European Nail Society and directs the annual European Nail Society and Histopathology Workshop. Dr. Rubin is the president of the Council for Nail Disorders and has served as the secretary-treasurer and treasurer of that organization. At the American Medical Association House of Delegates, Dr. Rubin serves as a delegate from the American Academy of Dermatology. Wow, that's a lot. Welcome to Adam.
Thank you so much, Christine. It's really an honor to have this invitation to join you on the Girl Doc Survival Guide. Thank you very much.
You have done and you do so much. Can you just start off with a personal anecdote so you seem more human?
Absolutely. I did a medical dermatology fellowship with Dedee Murrell in Sydney, Australia. I did this after the end of my residency and before my dermatopathology fellowship. It's this incredible opportunity that I'm very thankful for. I learned a lot about adapting to a new culture. There's a funny story, which I'm not even sure Dedee knows. At the time, I was on the American Academy of Dermatology Resident and Fellows Committee. And as part of this committee, we had a PDF file, a listing of all the different fellowships in the world, really. One of them said dermatopathology with Dedee Murrell in Sydney, Australia. I contacted her, and it turned out that it was a misprint in the book. It was actually dermatopharmacology. But we were on the phone, we were discussing it, and we had a mutual interest. I ended up doing it, and it ended up being one of the most important experiences I've ever had. It was a medical dermatology fellowship where I was rounding on inpatients with residents, ran the inpatient consult service. I had an HIV dermatology clinic. There was a blistering disease clinic that we went to at the Sydney Children's Hospital. There were, of course, a lot of blistering disease patients in Dedee's practice. So I was really exposed to high-level medical dermatology. Dedee is a really inspiring person. I was used to the American style of rounding, that you would go and the residents would be ready and the dressings would be open, and they just had a different style. Much more relaxed. I had gotten some feedback where essentially the message was, you need to adapt to the style here. I learned to adapt. And so I've taken that lesson over time, and it's been very helpful. The lesson being, other people are not going to adjust to you. You have to adjust to them in systems that already exist. I remember, this is again going to date me, but we would bring rolls of film to be developed into photos. I remember saying to the guy, please let me have this back in 2 days or something. And he looked at me just shocked. It was never going to happen on that time schedule.
Do you have any tips from your career, since you have been at 2 different academic centers, mainly UPenn and then now NYU, but also in Australia? Your work with the AMA and your role as editor of the JCP and your involvement with all these books. What do you think?
The first thing I would say is that it's always important to be moving forward, to be making progress. Of course, breaks are needed, but really to keep a long-term outlook and just move forward with what you're doing with intention. Even if it's small steps, these go through seasons in life. Sometimes you're busier, sometimes you're less busy. One thing I felt was very helpful from the American Medical Association, I learned a lot about the importance of coalition building for support in really any issue. In order to move forward, you really need to work with people who have shared interests to support particular positions. This really applies to, besides organized medicine, really anything in life. If you have a group of like-minded people together with a similar goal, that's how you get things accomplished. The larger amount of people, Usually, the greater the strength of the recommendations and the impact with like consensus statements. The ASTP does that, where a group of experts come together and their opinion then means a lot more than just a single person, even a small group. The other thing I found from the American Medical Association, the importance of an organized process or a parliamentary type process in meetings and decision making. It doesn't have to be super formal, but to allow different people to speak, be able to be heard. It's important that the majority opinion is appreciated, but a minority opinion is also heard and respected. I've really learned a lot working at the JCP. I've learned some lessons in terms of navigating systems with limits on resources. I think we are all in situations like that these days. While AI and things like ChatGPT can help us, there's still a human element and there's still things that you have to navigate. With the JCP, I've learned to think about the big picture of handling complaints and how to manage decisions. I'm the person that has the overall view about how does this individual decision affect the society, the people who are contributing, and really what's the best for the society and for the journal and for the people that are contributing. The JCP exists to serve the American Society of Dermatopathology and our members. This guides me in different decisions. One of the most important things I do in the JCP as the editor-in-chief, you would think that the most important decisions are about this manuscript or that word or something like that. The most difficult and important decisions involve relationships with people and trying to help people. What's your tip for navigating a career?
The main thing is to do something that you love. That's my main thing. And then the other thing, though, not so much when I was younger, but increasingly now, I want my life to also have stuff that's not work. I really do still love what I do. I love our jobs. I love our work. When my kids were younger, it was work, and then my time would be spent with my kids, taking them to birthday parties even, or a soccer game or whatever. I enjoyed that. But now that my kids are older, I think there's a little bit more space. And I realize that I should do something for myself that isn't related to work, even though the work that I do is for myself because I enjoy it.
Great. That's great.
Thank you, Adam. Is there anything you wish you had known earlier?
This may be silly, but probably the number one thing is actually I wish I had learned the basics of investing earlier. Things like understanding mutual funds and, the ETFs. Everything boils down to the power of compounding with time. I remember getting home from residency, taking a nap, and then getting up later and working. And I would advise younger listeners to look into investing. It's really worth the time because it is really with time that finances can grow, compounding. And I'll say, starting early, physicians, we're just so busy. And this is a very important thing. I wish I had looked into it earlier and that I wasn't so focused on the acute day-to-day things because it's very important to start early. The other thing is to examine very carefully what you're doing with your time. You alluded to this about your children and the time that you have now. Henry David Thoreau, he has this quote, something like, I enjoy a wide margin to my life, which sort of has a pathology or dermatopathology angle to it also. Time is the one limited resource. So before agreeing to something, really think critically about it and what you will give up by saying yes. Be comfortable in being selective because it gets easier telling people no over time. I don't want to turn it back on you, but I'm interested to learn from you. What's one thing that you wish you had known earlier and would impart to the listeners?
Similar to what you said. The investing thing goes along with what I said a little bit before, to spend some time doing something else. And investing is outside of work, but it's definitely something that will benefit us. For me, I wish I had known to be less stressed. We don't know what our lives are going to be like. So now I know at this point, my one kid is 18, one kid is 15. Some not so great things have happened, some really great things have happened, and it's fine. It's been okay. I wish I had just known to go back a little bit and be less stressed and be more accepting of this will all be fine. Sadly, The audio recording cut out here, so I don't have the rest of the conversation that I had with Adam. I will ask him again and release another one with Adam once we record again. Thank you for listening.